evening, friends.
Good evening, Mrs. Rogers. First thought to be arriving, Jim's boat. Another lot's not far behind.
Oh, dear, already? Did you remember everything?
I think so. Lemons, good salt, cream, eggs, tomatoes, and butter. That's all, wasn't it?
That's right. So much to do, I don't know where to start. All of these visitors arriving today, and the maid's not coming until tomorrow.
Calm down, Ethel. Everything looks shipshape now. Don't it, friend?
That's neat enough for me. Kind of bare. But rich folks like places bare, it seems.
Oh, rich folks is queer.
And he was a queer sort of gentleman who built this place. Spent a wicked lot of money on it, he did. And gets tired of it. Puts the whole thing up for sale.
Beats me why the owners wanted to buy this place. I mean, living on an island.
Oh, come off it, Ethel. And take all this up to the kitchen. We'll be here any minute now.
Making that steep climb an excuse for a drink. Like some others I know.
Stop the engine. Hopefully getting along. There's two gentlemen arriving by car, I understand.
I shall want at least 5 loaves in the morning and 8 pints of milk, remember?
Right.
Don't forget the oil for the engine, friend. I'll charge up tomorrow. Have the lights running down.
Liddell's up on railway. It's at the station now. I'll bring it across first thing tomorrow.
And get a hammer to luggage for you.
Right.
I forgot to give you a list of guests.
Thanks, so, girl. You look like a very classy lot to me. Miss Claythorne. She'll probably be the secretary.
Oh, I don't hold much with secretaries. I mean, they're worse than hospitalists than giving themselves airs when you have a servant.
Oh, stop browsing, Ethel, and tell on to up-to-date kitchen.
Too many newfangled gadgets for me.
So this is it.
How perfectly lovely.
Miss Claythorne.
You're Rogers.
Yes, good evening, miss.
Good evening, Rogers. Will you bring up my luggage? We have the Lombard.
Very good, miss.
You've been here before.
No, but I've heard a lot about the place.
From Mr. Richard Owen.
No, old Johnny Brewer, a pal of mine, built this place. It's a sad and poignant story.
A love story.
Yes, ma'am, the saddest of all. You see, Johnny was a broker on Wall Street. He fell in love with the famous Lily Logan, married her, bought the island, and built this place for her.
Sounds most romantic.
Poor Johnny. He thought by cutting her off from the rest of the world, not even the telephone as a means of communication, that he could hold her.
But of course, the Lily tied her ivory tower and escaped.
Johnny went back to Wall Street and made a few more millions, and the place was sold.
And here we are. Well, I ought to find Mrs. Owen. The others will be up in a minute.
It would be very rude to leave me here all by myself.
Would it? Oh, well, I wonder where she is.
She'll come along when she's ready. Meanwhile, do you think I could have a drink? I'm very dry.
Of course.
Rather hot after that steep climb. What's yours?
No, thanks. Not for me. Not on duty.
A good secretary is never off duty.
Really. This is exciting.
For what?
All this. The smell of the sea, the gulls, the beach, and this lovely house. I am going to enjoy myself.
Oh, I think you are. I think we both are. Here's to you. You're very lovely.
Where is Mrs. Owen?
Mr. and Mrs. Owen won't be down from London until tomorrow, miss. I thought you knew.
Tomorrow?
Here's a list of the guests expecting, miss. We'd like to have it.
Thank you.
Second boatload's just arriving.
Oh, how awful. I say, you will be as sweet as help me, won't you?
I won't move from your side.
It seems so silly to have bought only us in the first boat and all the rest in the second.
That, I'm afraid, was design, not action.
Design? What do you mean?
I suggested to the boatman that there was no need to wait for any more passengers. That 5 shillings soon started up the engine.
You shouldn't have done that.
Well, they're not a very exciting lot, are they?
I thought the young man was rather nice looking.
Callow, definitely callow. And very, very young.
And I suppose you think a man in his 30s is more attractive?
Oh, I don't think, my dear. I know.
Where's the place you've got here?
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been staying in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Oh, that's too bad.
May I excuse Captain Lombard, Mrs. Owen?
Marston, Anthony Marston.
Have a drink?
Yes, thank you.
What will you have? Sherry and whiskey?
Whiskey, I think. Wonderful place you have here.
I'm Mrs. Owen's
Mr. Davis, Mr. Marston.
How are you, Mr. Marston? Pleased to meet you. Thank you, Mr. Lombard. Don't mind if I do. Bit of intense climb up here, but wow, what a view and what a height. Reminds me of South Africa, this place.
But really, what part?
Durban, the town, you know.
Really?
Well, here's your temperance. No, South Africa.
Me? No.
That's where I'm from. That's my natal state.
Interesting country, I should think.
Well, of course, sir. Gold, silver, diamonds, oranges, everything a man could want. Talk about a land flowing with beer and skittles.
How do you do?
General Mackenzie, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been staying in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow. Can I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr. Marston, and Mr.
David's the name.
Whiskey and soda, sir?
Thanks. You in the service?
Formerly in the King's African Rifles. Two take for me in peacetime, I trust.
Oh, pretty. Oh, when?
Where is Mrs. Owen? Miss Brent, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been staying in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Indeed. Extraordinary. Did she miss the train?
I expect so. When you have something, may I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr. Marston, General Mackenzie? I think you'll make on the boat over. And Mr.
David's the name. I take your case.
Do let me get you something to drink. Glass of cherry, a dry martini, whiskey and soda.
I never touch alcohol.
You never touch alcohol?
I suppose you know, young man, that you left us all standing on the wharf back there.
I'm afraid I was to blame for that. You see, I wanted to.
I find it extraordinary that Mrs. Owen isn't here to receive her guests.
I expect you decided to in that hot out missing train.
That's what I reckon it is.
Not at all, Mrs. Owen isn't the least like that.
Well, perhaps it was her husband's fault.
She hasn't got a husband. I should like to go to my room now.
Of course, I'll take you.
Find Mrs. Rogers upstairs. She'll show you your room.
Oh, I'm afraid our host and hostess haven't arrived yet. My name's Lombard.
Mine's Wargrave. How do you do?
How do you do? Have a drink?
Yes, please. A whiskey.
How are you? David's the name.
Mine's Wargrave.
I say, wonderful place you have here. Quite unique.
As you say, quite unique.
Your drink, sir.
Oh, Badger Berkeley rolled up yet?
Who did you say?
Badger Berkeley. He wrote me in for this show. When's he coming?
Well, I don't think he is coming. Nobody by the name of Berkeley.
Why? He's let me down. Well, pretty Wizard Island. Rather a wizard girl, that secretary. She ought to liven things up. I say, old man, what about dressing at this time before dinner?
Let's go explore, shall we?
Oh, wizard!
Things are a bit 6s and 7s, but with the others not doing it.
Tricky, what? I say, oh, wizard, place for the holiday, what?
Aren't you going to sit down?
Well, to tell you the truth, you seem to be in my chair.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were one of the family.
Well, it's not that exactly. To tell you the truth, I've never been here before in my life. See, I live at the Benton Club, have for the last 10 years. My chair is right about there. Can't get used to sitting anyplace else.
It becomes a bit of a habit.
Yes, it certainly does. Thank you. Well, it's not quite as good as the club's chair, but it'll do. To tell you the truth, I was a bit surprised when I got this invitation. I haven't had anything of the sort for well over 4 years. Awfully nice of them, I thought.
Can I have your keys, sir?
Is Lady Constance Comington expected here, could you tell me?
Lady Constance Comington? I don't think so, sir. Let's just come down with Mr. and Mrs. Owen.
Oh.
Oh, allow me, sir. Can I have your keys, sir?
No. I'll unpack for myself.
Dinner's at 8 o'clock, sir. Shall I show you to your room?
Please.
How are you? David, David's the name.
Mine's Armstrong.
Dr. Armstrong, I believe.
Yeah.
Thought so. Never forget a face.
Don't tell me I've forgotten one of my patients.
No, nothing like that. Just that one study in court giving expert evidence.
Oh, really? Are you interested in the law?
Well, I'm from South Africa. Naturally, legal processes in this country are bound to be colonial.
Oh, yes, of course.
Have a drink.
Don't take it. I never touch it.
Mind if I do? Mine's empty.
Not a bit.
I've been having a look around the island. Wonderful place, isn't it?
Ah, wonderful. I thought as I was coming across the mainland, what a haven of peace this was.
Too peaceful for some, I dare say.
Wonderfully restful. Wonderful for the nerves. I'm a nerve specialist.
Yes, I know that. Did you come down by train?
No, I motored down. Dropped in on a patient on the way. Great improvement, wonderful response.
Best part 200 miles, isn't it? How long did it take you?
I don't hurry. I never hurry. Bad for the nerves. Some mannerless young fellow nearly drove me into the ditch near Amesbury. Shot past me at about 80 miles an hour. Disgraceful bit of driving. I wish I had his number.
Yes, and if only more people would take the numbers of these young roadhogs.
Yes, you must excuse me. I must have a word with Mr. Owen.
Oh, but Mr. Owens is coming down.
You rang, sir?
Yes. Take my hat, will you? Tell me, what time's supper?
Dinner is at 8 o'clock, sir. Tonight's dressing will be optional.
Got a good place here.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Been here long.
Just under a week, sir.
Is that all? So don't suppose you know much about the crowd that's here.
No, sir.
All the rest of the family?
I really couldn't say, sir.
No, well. Oh, Roger. Roger, do you think you put some sandwiches and a bottle of beer in my room at night? You get a hell of an appetite with this sea air.
I'll see what I can do, sir.
Roger. I'll see you won't lose by it. Where's my room?
I'll show you, sir.
Good. I can do the wash and brush up straight away.
South African gentleman. No class, if you ask me. No money, either.
I don't like it. I don't like any of them much. They're more like that person in the boarding house, I'd say.
He looks like he's a millionaire or something. You should see his underwear. Cheap if they make them.
Really, I said, Roger, it's not treating us right. I mean, all of these guests are arriving today, and the maid's not coming until tomorrow. What do they think we are?
Now then, the money's good.
So it ought to be. Catch me going into service again if the money wasn't good.
Well, it is good. So what are you going on about?
Well, Rogers, I'm not going to stay anyplace where I'm put upon. I mean, cooking is my business. I'm a good cook.
First rate, old girl.
But the kitchen is my place, and housework is none of my business. I've a good mind to walk right out of here and go straight back to Plymouth.
You can't do that, old girl.
Why not? Who says I can't?
Because you're on an island, old girl. Had you forgotten that?
Yes, and I don't know as I fancy being on an island.
Well, I don't know if I do either. I was slipping down to a pub or going to the pictures. Oh, well, it's double ways on the count of difficulties. There's plenty of beer in the house.
That's all you ever think about, beer.
Now, stop your nagging and get back to the kitchen or your dinner will be spoiled.
It'll be spoiled anyway, I expect. Everybody's going to be late. It's wasted on them anyway. Thank goodness they didn't make a souffle. Oh, dinner won't even a minute. It's just a question of dishing up.
Is everything all right, Roger? Hanging managed between the two of you?
Yes, thank you, miss. The missus talks a lot, but she gets it done.
What a lovely evening. Yes, indeed. The weather seems very settled. How plainly one can hear the sea. A pleasant sound. Hardly a breath of wind. And deliciously warm. Not like England at all. I should have thought you might feel a bit uncomfortable in that dress. Oh, no. It's rather tight, isn't it? I don't think so. Well, excuse me, my dear, but you're a young girl and you've got your living to earn. Yes. A well-bred woman doesn't like her secretary to appear flashy. It looks as though, you were trying to attract the attention of the opposite sex. And would you dare to attract them? That's beside the point. Any young girl who deliberately sets out to get the attention of men isn't likely to keep her daughter along. Oh, surely that depends on the easy foot. Really, Miss Claythorne? Aren't you being a little unkind? Young people nowadays behave in the most disgusting fashion. Disgusting? Yes. Low-backed evening dresses, flying half naked on beaches, or this so-called sunbathing. An excuse for immodest behavior, nothing more. Familiarity, Christian names, drinking cocktails, and look at the young men nowadays. What good are any of them? That young Marston, simply decadent. And that Captain Lombard. What do you object to in Captain Lombard? I should say he was a man who's led very varied and interesting life. The man's an adventurer, nothing more. This whole younger generation is no good. No good at all. You don't like youth like me? What do you mean? Well, I was just remarking that you don't seem to like young people. And is there any reason why I should, Fred? Oh, no. But it seems to me that you must miss an awful lot. You're very impertinent. I'm sorry, but that's just what I think. The world will never improve until we stamp out immodesty. Quite possible. What did you say? Nothing.
Well, what about the old boy? He looks rather like a tortoise, don't you think? All judges look like tortoises. They have that venomous way of darting their heads in and out. Mr. Justice Wargrave is no exception.
I hadn't realized he was a judge.
Oh, yes. He's probably been responsible for sending more to send people to their deaths than anyone in England. Oh, hello, you. Have you two met? Dr. Armstrong, Miss Claythorne. Armstrong and I have just started the old board.
I heard you started here, I think.
Miss Brent, isn't it?
Yes, I have something I'd like to discuss with you. Would you mind stepping outside for a minute?
A remarkably fine night.
Absolutely whizzer car. A supercharged sports Malati Carlota. You don't see many of them on the road anymore. I can get over 100 out of it.
Did you go down from London?
Yes, 208 miles, and I did it in a bit over 4 hours. Too many cars on the road to keep it up, though. But I touched 90 going over Salisbury Plain. Not too bad, eh?
I think you passed me on the road.
You nearly drove me into the ditch. I didn't take your number. I would have reported you.
But you were footling in the middle of the road.
Footling? Me? Footling?
Oh, well, what about a drink?
Good idea. Will you have one this place on?
No, thank you.
Hello, Mrs. Owen.
Why, Mrs. Owen?
You make the perfect beautiful wife of any young businessman.
You always flirt outrageously.
Always.
Oh, well, now we can.
I say, what did Miss Brent have to talk to the judge about? She tried to buttonhole him upstairs.
I don't know. Funny, she seems so definite that there wasn't a Mr. Owen.
You don't think that they're,
What? Married?
Damn shame we didn't know each other before. I could have given you a lift up here.
Yes, that would have been grand.
I'd like to show you what I can do with Salisbury Plain. Well, tell you what, why don't we drive back together?
But
Well, it seems damn silly. I haven't had to
Yes,
talk.
but she likes the way she's going in.
look! Aren't they sweet? They're 10 little China Indians. Oh, and there's the old nursery rhyme to go with it.
What Indians? What rhyme?
10 little Indian boys going out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little Indian boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8.
8 little
boys traveling in Devon. One got left behind, and then there were 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, silence, please. You are charged with these indictments, that you did respectively and at diverse times commit the following. Edward Armstrong, that you did cause the death of Louisa Mary Cleese. William Henry Blore, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Lendor. Emily Carolyn Brent, that you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogilvy Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that you were guilty of the deaths of 21 men, members of an East African tribe. John Gordon Mackenzie, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Combs. Thomas Rogers and Ethel Rogers, that you brought about the death of Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wargrave, that you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seaton. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
Nothing much. She's fainted, that's all. She'll be around in a minute. Get some brandy.
Rogers, get some brandy.
His walk back to speak.
What's going on here? What kind of practical joking? Where the devil did that voice come from? Ah, here we are.
You are charged with these indictments.
Turn it off!
That
Turn it
you-
off! It's horrible!
Disgraceful and heartless practical joke. So you think it's a joke, do you? What else could it be? At the moment, I'm not prepared to give an opinion.
Well, who the devil turned it on, though, and set it going?
We must inquire into that.
Oh, dear me, dear me.
Allow me, madame. Allow me, sir. First speak to her. Athos, sir, right? Put yourself together.
You got a date, sir?
Yes.
It was just the voice. It was the awful voice. It was like a judgment.
Where's the brain? Here, Mr. Rogers, drink this.
I'm all right now. He just gave me a turn.
Gave me a turn, too. Like Elijah was. I'd like to know.
Who was to put the record on the gramophone? Was it you, Rogers?
I was still being ordered, sir.
Whose order?
Mr. Owen.
Let me get this quite clear. Mr. Owen's orders were what exactly?
I was to put the record on the gramophone in the study. Find the record in the drawer in there. I'll start with that one, sir. I thought just to give you all some music.
A very remarkable story.
Before I had it the truth, sir, I didn't know what it was, not for a moment. They had a title on it. I thought it was just a piece of music.
Is there a title?
Yes, it's entitled Swan Song.
The whole thing is preposterous. Slinging accusations about like this. Something must be done. This fellow Owen, whoever he is.
That's just it. Who is he?
That's exactly what we must go into. Very carefully. I suggest you get your wife back to bed, Rogers, then come back here.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a hand.
Will she be all right, Doctor?
Yes, quite all right.
I don't know about you, sir, but I feel I need another drink.
I agree.
I'll get that.
Preposterous. That's what it is. Preposterous.
Whiskey, sir, Lord?
I should like a glass of water, please. Yes, I'll get it. Could do with a little whiskey myself.
She'll be all right. I've given her 7.
Now then, Doctor. You want a drink after all this?
No, I don't have it.
So you said. You go sit down, General.
Now then, Rogers, let's get to the bottom of this. Tell us exactly what you know about Mr. Owen.
He owns this place, sir.
I'm aware of that fact. What I want you to tell
tell me is what you yourself know about the man.
I can't say, sir. You see, I've never seen him.
What do you mean you've never seen him?
He's been here just under a week, sir. My wife and I. We're engaged at the registry office, the Jardina in Plymouth.
That's a high-class firm. We can check on that.
Have you got this letter?
Letter engaging us? Yes, sir.
Go on with your story.
We arrived here like the letter said on the port. Everything was in order, plenty of food and stock, and everything was very nice. Just needed dusting and that.
What next?
Nothing, sir. Said if we got orders for a house party. 8. Then yesterday, when one post received another letter, signature Mrs. Ellen Martin came from London, which is best couldn't get in touch about dinner and putting on the gramophone record. Here it is, sir.
In Brent's Hotel in Claythorne.
It's Coronation Machine number 5. I'll be quiet now. The signed paper. It was common to make. We shan't get much out of this. We might try for fingerprints, but it's handle too much.
Quite a little detective.
Got some fancy Christian names, hasn't he? Felix, Norman, Owen. Quite a mouthful. I'm obliged to you, Mr. Marston. You have drawn my attention to a very curious and suggestive point. I think the time has come for all of us to pool our information together. It would be well if everybody could come forward with all the information they have regarding our unknown host. We are all his guests. I think it would be profitable if each one of us were to explain exactly how that came about.
You know, there is something very peculiar about all of this. I received a letter that I took to have come from a woman that I met at a summer resort 3 or 4 years ago. The name on the letter was very difficult to read. I took it to be Athas. I'm certain I've never met or become friendly with anyone by the name of Owen.
Have you got this letter, Miss Brent?
Certainly, I'll fetch it for you.
Miss Claythorne.
I've never actually met Mrs. Owen. I wanted a holiday post and applied for a state tail agency. Miss Glenville, London. I was offered this post and accepted.
And you were never interviewed by your prospective employer?
No, I have the letter.
Indeed, I was declared the devil. I received your name from Spencer, son. I understand you in person. I should be glad to pay your salary fast and expect you to take your duties on August 8th. The train is 12:10 for Paddington, and you will be met at Oakbridge Station. I close my thoughts for yours truly, Una Nancy O. Mr. Marston. Well, I don't actually know the Owen. I got a wire from a pal of mine, Dr. Berkeley. He told me to roll up here, which surprised me a bit, seeing how I thought the old folks was in Norway. I haven't got the wire. Thank you. Dr. Armstrong.
In the circumstances, I think I may admit that my visit here was professional. Mr. Owen wrote me he was worried about his wife's health. Her nerves, to be precise. He wanted a report without her being alarmed. He therefore suggested that my visit here should be regarded as that of an ordinary guest.
You had no previous acquaintance with the family?
No.
But you had no hesitation in obeying the summons?
A colleague of mine was mentioned, and a very handsome fee was suggested. I was due for a holiday anyway.
Brent, I do hope you remember me. She was really in the guest house a few years ago. After we guest house over there, I'm not about to go to death. I really think there's an opening for good English cooking. A nice old-fashioned type of person. None of this nudity and gramophones half the night. I shall be very glad to see you away spending us on holiday here as my guest calls. I suggest August 8th, 12:40, Paddington to Oakbridge. Yours sincerely, U.N. Yes, the signature is slightly ambiguous.
I like the nudity touch.
Here is my own decoy letter from an old friend of mine, Lady Constance Coleman. She writes in her usual vague, incoherent way. Urges me to join her here, and refers to her host and hostess in the vaguest of terms.
Look here, after this buzz.
In a minute.
But I don't see why
We will deal with one thing at a time, if you don't mind, Captain Lombard. General Mackenzie.
A letter from this fellow, Owen. Thought I must have met him sometime at the club. Mentioned some old cronies of mine who would be here. Haven't kept the letter since, I'm afraid. Hope that excuse informal invitation.
And you, Captain Lombard.
The same sort of thing, a letter mentioning mutual friends. I haven't kept mine either.
Just now we've had a somewhat disturbing experience. An apparently disembodied voice spoke to us all by name, uttering certain definite accusations. We will deal with those accusations presently. However, my attention was drawn to a minor point. Amongst the names mentioned was that of William Henry Blore. But as far as we know, there's no one named Blore among us. And yet, the name of Davis was not mentioned. What have you got to say about that, Mr. Davis?
Catch out of the bag, I suppose. I better admit, my name isn't Davis.
You are William Henry Blore, that's right.
I will add something to that. Not only are you under a false name, Mr. Blore, but I've observed this evening that you are a first-class liar. You claim to come from Natal, South Africa. I know South Africa and Natal well. I'm prepared to say that you've never set foot there in your life.
You fellas got me all wrong. I'm an ex-BID man.
A copper?
I've got my credentials and I can prove it. I'm re-detective agency in Plymouth. I was thrown to this job.
By whom?
With Mr. Rome. This is a very nice money order for expenses. He also joined the house party, posing as a guest. He also sent a list of all your names and said I'll keep an eye on all of you.
Any reason given?
Then Miss Owen has a valuable jewel. Miss Owen, my foot. I don't believe there's any such person.
Your conclusions, I think, are justified. Eulick Norman Owen. Una Nancy Owen. Each time that is to say U-N-O. Or, by slight stretch of fancy, unknown.
I mean, fantastic. Mad.
Oh yes, I have no doubt in my own mind we're dealing with a madman. Probably a dangerous homicidal lunatic.
Oh my God!
Whoever it is a typist here has gone to a lot of trouble to find a great deal about her. A very great deal. And it is knowledge concerning us he has made certain definite accusations.
We can lie!
I wish to say this. Our unknown friend accuses me of the murder of one Edward Seaton. I remember Seaton perfectly well. He came up before me for trial in June 1930. He was charged with the murder of an elderly woman. He was very ably defended and made a good impression on the jury the witness box. Nevertheless, on the evidence, he was certainly guilty. I summed up accordingly, and the jury brought in the verdict of guilty. In passing sentence of death, I fully concurred with this verdict. An appeal was lodged in the grounds of judicial direction. The appeal was dismissed, and the man was duly executed. I wish to say before all of you that my conscience is perfectly clear on this matter. I did my duty, nothing more. I passed sentence on a rightly convicted murderer. Did you know Seaton at all? I mean, personally. I knew nothing of Seaton previous to the trial.
The old boy's lying. I swear he's lying.
Fellow's a madman. Absolute madman. Got a bean in fire. Not holding the wrong end of the stick all around. Best for me to leave this sort of thing alone. However, I feel I ought to say no truth. No truth whatsoever when he said about it. Young, off and rich. He was an officer of mine. Sent him on reconnaissance in 1917. He was killed. Also like to say resent. Very much. Slur on my wife. Best damn woman in the world. Absolutely. Caesar's wife.
I've just been thinking. John and Lucy Combs. Must have been a couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck.
What them was for you?
Well, I was thinking for me, but then again, it was damn bad luck for them too, now wasn't it? But it was totally accidental. They ran over some cottage or another. I had my license suspended for an entire year. Beastly. The speeding is all wrong. All wrong. Young men like you are a danger to the community. But I couldn't help it. It was just an accident.
Might I say a word, sir?
Well, go ahead, Rogers.
There was a mention, sir, of me and Mrs. Rogers and Miss Jennifer Brady. There isn't a word of truth in it. We were with Mrs. Brady when she died. She was always in poor health, always when the time we came to her. There was a storm the night she died. The telephone was out of order. We couldn't get a doctor to her. I went for him, sir, on foot. But he got there too late. Devoted to her we were. Anybody would say the same. There was never a word said against us. Never a word.
Carried you a nice little something at her death. I suppose, didn't you?
Miss Jennifer Brady left his legacy in recognition of our faith. And why not, I'd like to know?
What about yourself, Mr. Blore?
What about me?
Your name was on the list.
I know. Landlord, you mean. That was a Lennon and commercial bank robbery.
I remember the name, though it didn't didn't come before me. Landor was convicted on your evidence. He was a policeman in charge of the case.
I was, my lord.
Landor got penal servitude and died in Dartmoor a year later. He was a delicate man.
From the start.
You were complimented, I think, on your able handling of the case.
I got my promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word, duty. What about you, Doctor?
I'm at a loss to understand the matter. The name meant nothing to me. What was it? Close? I really don't remember having a patient of that name. Or it's being connected to its death in any way. The thing's a complete mystery to me. Of course, it was a long time ago. It may be one of my operation cases in the hospital. They come too late, so many of these people. And then when the patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
And then, of course, it's better to give up surgery and go into a study of nervous diseases. Some, of course, give up drink.
I protest. You have no right to insinuate such things. I never touch alcohol.
I never said you did. Anyway, Mr. Ellen's the only one that has all the facts.
Miss Claythorne.
I was a nursery governess to Pete Hamilton. We were in Cornwall for the summer. He was forbidden to swim out far. One day, when my attention was distracted, he started off. As soon as I saw what happened, I swam after him. But I couldn't get there in time.
Was there an inquest?
Yes, I was exonerated by the coroner. His mother didn't blame me either.
Thank you. Miss Brent.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You reserved your defense?
It is not a question of my offense. I have always acted in accordance with the dictates of my conscience.
What a law-abiding group we all seem to be. Myself excluded.
We are waiting for your story, Captain Lombard.
Oh, I haven't got a story.
What do you mean?
I hate to disappoint all of you. It's just that I plead guilty. I let those natives to die in the bush. Matter of self-preservation.
You abandoned your men?
Not exactly that, Puka Mahib, I'm afraid, but after all, self-preservation is man's first duty.
Our inquiry rests there. Now then, Rogers, who else is on this island besides ourselves, you and your wife?
Nobody, sir. Nobody at all.
You're sure of that?
Quite sure, sir.
Thank you. Don't go, Rogers. I am not yet clear as to the purpose of our unknown host in getting us to assemble here. But in my opinion, he's not saying in the accepted sense of the word. He may be dangerous. I think it will be well if we leave this place as soon as possible. I suggest we leave tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir. There's no boat on the island.
No boat stall?
No, sir.
Why don't you telephone the mainland?
There's no telephone on the island. When Narracott, she comes over in the morning, brings the milk and the bread and the post and the papers, and takes the orders.
A bit unfortunate, what? I think you ought to stick around and ferret out the mystery. The whole thing's like a detective story. Positively thrilling. If I come and fly past with a desire for thrills. Legalized narrowing, and I'm all for crime. Here's to it.
What's wrong?
Nobody.
Do something.
You're joking.
Read
Help
off
me.
something there. Read.
Do something.
Read.
My God, he's dead.
What do you mean he's dead? The village is soaked and died.
You can call it choking if you like. He died of asphyxiation.
Never knew a man could die like that. Choking thing.
In the middle of life, we are in death.
A man doesn't die of a mere choking fit, General Mackenzie. Marston's death isn't what we would call a natural death.
Well, there's something in the whiskey.
Yes, but the smell of it, cyanide. Probably potassium cyanide. Acts pretty well in detaining cases.
Well, then he must have put the stuff in the cup himself.
Suicide, eh? That's a rum go.
But he never think he committed suicide. He was so alive. He was enjoying himself.
Look, one of the 10 little Indians from the mantelpiece. And it's broken.
Been up to the top. No sign of that going yet.
It's very dirty, isn't it?
Yes, but still, the girl brings the milk and the bread and all that. You would have thought she'd been here before this. No sign of breakfast. Where's that fellow Rogers?
Oh, let's bother about breakfast.
How's the weather looking?
The wind is fresh in the mid. Rather mackerel sky. Old boy on the train yesterday said we were due for dirty weather. I shouldn't wonder if he wasn't right.
I wish that phone would come. The sooner we get off this island, the better. It's absurd not giving a vote on the island.
No proper harbor. If the wind was to come to blow from the southeast, the boat gets dashed to pieces against the rocks.
But a boat would always be able to make it from the mainland.
No, Miss Brent. That's exactly what it wouldn't.
You mean we should be cut off from the land completely?
Yes. This milk, right? These 10 tanks there. The Gallagher burned itself out. But she didn't worry. The sea's only a bit choppy.
I think the pleasures of living on an island are highly overrated.
Annoying the way to help the film. Laugh up against the cliff. You can't see the mainland until you climb to the top. Shall we go up there again?
No use, Doctor. The water plant never boils. Besides, there's no sign of a boat sitting out when we were up there just now.
What can that Narracott woman be doing?
They're all like that in Devon. Never hurry themselves.
And where's Rogers? He has to be about.
If you ask me, Master Rogers had a pretty bad shock last night.
I know. You have to be the whole thing.
Got wind there properly. I take it even that he and his missus did that lady in.
You really think so?
You all saw him last night. Scared stiff. Guilty as hell, I should say.
Fantastic. The whole thing. Fantastic.
I say, suppose he popped it.
Who, Rogers? But there isn't any way he could. There's no boat on the island. You just said so.
Yes, but I've been thinking. We only have his word for that. Suppose there is one and he slips off first thing.
Oh, no. You wouldn't be allowed to leave the island.
Sleep well, General.
I dreamed. Yes, I dreamed.
Shouldn't wonder at that.
I dreamed of Leslie. My wife, you know.
Yes, I wish Narracott would come.
Who is Narracott?
The girl that brought us over from the train yesterday.
Only yesterday?
Yes, I feel like that too. Fatty gramophone record, suicide, but all Americans stand. I shan't be sorry to back an Indian island, I give you my word.
No. Don't understand.
What's that, General? I reckon your Marston's suicide gave him a pretty bad shock. He looks years older.
Yeah. Where's that poor young fellow now?
In the study, filming myself.
Dr. Armstrong. The president wants suicide.
What else could it be?
I don't know, but suicide.
You know, I had a pretty funny feeling in the night. Suppose it's Mr. Unknown owned on the island. Roger may not know it, or maybe told to say so. Pretty nasty thought, isn't it?
Yeah, but would it have been possible for anyone to care for with Marcia and drink without our seeing her?
Well, it was sitting up there. Anyone could have slipped a double sign in it if they wanted to.
Oh, there you are, sir. I've been all the time looking for you, sir. Would you come and take a look at my wife, sir?
Yes, of course. She's feeling under the weather still.
She's...
She won't leave the island without me.
Wish the boat would come. I hate this place.
Yes. And the sooner we can get in touch with the police, the better.
The police.
The police have to be notified in case of suicide, you know, in this place.
Oh, yes. Of course.
What's going on here? Some sign of any breakfast.
Are you hungry, General?
Lindsay, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm Vera Claythorne.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry I took you for my wife.
Oh.
Yes, I'm waiting for you, see?
But I thought your wife was dead long ago.
So did I. No, it's not. She's here, on this island.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lombard.
Good morning. There's a boat out there?
No.
It's late, isn't it?
Yes.
Good morning. You and I could have had a swim before breakfast. Too bad all this.
Too bad you're in the slip yourself.
You must have nerves to sleep like that.
Nothing makes me lose my sleep.
You didn't dream of African natives by any chance?
No. Did you dream of convicts on Dartmoor?
Look here, Mr. Lombard, I don't think that's very funny.
Dartmoor? I'm hungry. What about breakfast?
The whole domestic staff seems to have gone on strike.
We can always afford for ourselves.
You just assumed they were 10 because of the rhyme. Oh, hello, Armstrong. What's the matter?
Mrs. Rogers is dead.
How?
Died in her sleep. Rogers thought she was still under the influence of the sleeping draught I gave her last night. So we went down without disturbing her. He lit the kitchen fire and did this room, and then as she hadn't appeared, he went out and was alarmed by the look of her and went hunting for me. She's been dead about 5 hours, I should say.
What was it? Heart?
Impossible to say, it may have been.
After all, she had a pretty bad shock last night.
Yes. She could have been poisoned, I suppose. Doctor? It's perfectly possible.
With the same stuff as young Marston.
No, not cyanide. It would have to be one of the barbiturates. Or some narcotic or hypnotic. Or chloral, something like that.
You gave her some sleeping powders last night, didn't you?
I gave her a mild dose of luminol.
Didn't give her too much, did you?
Certainly not. What do you mean?
All right, all right. No offense. She just thought perhaps she had a weak heart.
The amount I gave her did not hurt anyone.
Then what exactly did happen?
Impossible to say without an autopsy.
If this death had occurred in the case of one of your private patients, what would have been your procedure?
Without any more exact knowledge of the woman's state of health, I certainly cannot give a certificate.
She was a very frail-looking creature. She had a bad fright last night. Perhaps it was heart failure?
Her heart certainly failed to beat.
What caused it to fail?
Conscience.
What exactly do you mean by that, Brent?
You all saw her last night. She was accused, along with her husband, of having murdered their former employer, an old woman.
And you believe that's true, Miss Brent?
Certainly. You saw her. She broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought home to her was simply too much. She literally died of fear.
Impossible theory. One cannot adopt it without more exact knowledge of the woman's state of health. If there was a latent cardiac...
Call it, if you prefer, an act of God.
Oh, no, Miss Brent.
You regard it as impossible that a sinner can be struck down by the wrath of God? I do not.
My dear lady, in my experience of ill-doing, Providence leaves work, conviction, and chastisement to us mortals. It is often fraught with difficulties, but there are no shortcuts. Let's be practical. What did the woman have to eat and drink last night after she went to bed? Nothing. Nothing at all? Not a glass of water or a cup of tea. I bet she had a cup of tea that Claude always says.
Rogers assures me she had nothing whatever.
He might say so.
So that's your idea.
You all heard those accusations last night? What if it's true? Miss Brent thinks it is for one. Rogers and his missus did a murder and feeling quite safe and happy about it.
Happy?
Well, they know there's no immediate danger to them. Then, last night, some lunatic goes to be. What happened? The wind cracks, goes to pieces. Did you see him hanging around her when she was coming to? No, husband, so this is another sweet life. It was like a cat on hot grits. And that's the position. They did a murder, got away with it. And that's all going to be right up again now. It's the woman who gets the show away. She has the nerve to brazen it out. And him, he's all right. He'll go on nights the cows come home. But he's sure of her. So what does he do? He drops some nice salt something to a nice cup of tea. When she's had it, he watches the cup and softens it. Just the doctor, she ain't had it. That's it.
Oh, no, that's impossible. The man would do that. Not for his wife.
You'd be surprised, Miss Claythorne, what some husbands would do.
Excuse me, miss. I'm getting on with breakfast. Not much of a hand as a cook, I'm afraid. But it's lunch this morning, me. With cold tongue and jelly can be satisfactory. And I can manage some fried potatoes, some milk, some cheese, and some biscuits.
That would be fine, thank you, Roger.
Lunch? Lunch we should be here for lunch. What's that boat coming? What?
Excuse me, sir. The boat won't be coming.
What?
For Narracott, he's always here before 8. Is there anything else you require, miss?
No, thank you, Roger.
And then there's Roger. His wife lying dead upstairs. There he is cooking breakfast. Colin talking about lunch. Now I think the boat will be coming. How does he know? What?
He's just carrying on automatically as if it's a work. It's pathetic, really.
He's pulling a fast one, if you ask me. The really significant thing here is the failure of the boat to arrive. It means we're being deliberately cut off from help.
There is time.
or something of that kind?
She never would have fallen for that, would she?
Well, why not? Enon's got a reputation for people during crazy parties. This is just one more crazy idea, that's all. Narracott knows there's plenty of food and drink in town. She probably thinks it's just a huge joke.
Couldn't we light a bonfire on top of the island so they see it?
That's probably been provided against. All signals would be ignored. We're cut off all right.
But can't we do something?
Yes, we can do something. We can find the funny gentleman that staged this little joke, Mr. Unknown Home. I'll bet you anything you like he's somewhere on this island. And the sooner we find him, the better, because in my opinion, he's mad to have it. And he's dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a good feeling, Captain Lombard. The rattlesnake at least gives warning of the throat.
Warning? This is our warning. 10 little Indians. There were 10 of us after Narracott, weren't there? 10 little Indian boys going out to dine. One choked himself. Marston choked himself, didn't he? And then, 9 little Indian boys sat up very late. One overslept himself. That last part was Mrs. Rogers nicely, don't you think?
You don't think? Do you mean to say he wants to kill us all?
Yes, I believe he does.
And each one fits with the right?
No, it's impossible. It's coincidence. It must be coincidence. There's only 8 little Indian boys here. I suppose that's a coincidence, too? What do you think, Blore?
I don't like it.
But there's nobody on the island.
I'm not sure of that.
Oh, this is terrible.
None of us will ever leave this island.
Can somebody shut up, Grandpa? Up to the point. Yes, the sooner we get started, the better. Come on, Armstrong. Come on, Blore. We'll make quick work of it.
I'm ready. Nobody's got a revolver by any chance. I think that's too much to hope for.
I've got one.
Always carry that about with you.
Usually. I've been to some tight places, you know.
Oh well. I bet you've never been in a tighter place than you are today. If there is a homicidal maniac on this island, he's a whole arsenal on him.
No, use it. Hold on there, Blore. Many homicidal maniacs are very quiet, unassuming people, delightful fellows. You'd never guess there was anything wrong with them.
Well, Mr. O turns out to be one of those, Doctor. We'll leave him to you. Now then, I suggest you do the house and move to the island.
Right. The house ought to be easy enough. No sliding panels or secret doors.
Mind you doesn't get you before you get him.
I'll watch out, but you two stay together. Remember, one got left behind.
Come on, Armstrong! A very energetic young man, this Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? If there is someone hanging on the island, they're bound to find him. It's like 3 bad rocks.
I think this probably brain solve it rather than wrong.
Where are you going?
Sit out in the sun and think, my dear young lady.
I can't find my other skein of gray knitting wool anywhere.
Did you leave it upstairs? Shall I see if I can find it?
Oh, don't bother. I know where it's most likely to be.
I'm glad Captain Lombard has got a revolver.
You're all wasting time. Wasting time.
You think so?
Yes. It's much better to just sit quietly and wait.
Wait for what?
For the end, of course.
Your wife?
Yes. I wish you would know her. She was so pretty, so gay.
Was she?
I loved her very much. Of course, I was much older than she was. She was only 27. Arthur Richmond was 26. Pardon me. thought you took a lovely interest in the boy. Damn fool, wasn't I? No fool like an old fool. Exactly like a book, the way I found out. We were stationed in France. She wrote to the both of us. She put the letters in the wrong envelope. So I do.
Oh, no.
All right, my dear. See, that was a long time ago. And I loved her very much. Believe me, sir. I never told him I found out. I let him guide her inside. Here. The slow. Murders. Rage. Damn young prick! I like the boy. Trust me.
I wonder what the others
I
do.
sent him to his death. It was all quite easy. Mistakes were being made all the time. All anyone could say was that I lost my nerve. Sacrificed one of my best men. Yes, it was all quite easy. I never told her I found out. We went on as usual. But somehow, nothing was quite finished. She died of pneumonia. She had a heart-shaped face, and gray eyes, and brown hair that curled.
No.
Yes, in a way I suppose it was murder. Curious murder, and I've always mentioned the law-abiding man. Didn't feel like murder at the time. Damn well right, that's what I thought. But then, after, well, you know, don't you?
What do you mean?
See, you understand? I thought you would. I thought you'd be glad to that the end was near. We're all going to die, you know.
I don't know.
That's all right. You're very young. You haven't got to that yet. The relief, the blessed relief when you know that you're through with it all. That you haven't got to carry the burden any longer. Oh,
General!
don't talk to me that way. You don't understand. I just want to go and fix and wait for my Leslie to come for me.
Right. Oh, right.
All correct. No secret passages, one course.
No.
I said you do look low. How about a drink to steady your nerves?
A drink? Two corpses in the house at 9 in the morning, and all you say, have a drink. An old man turned quite reckless. Just have a drink. 10 people accused of murder. Have a drink. Everything's right so long as you have a drink.
All right. Stay thirsty.
Oh, you're nothing but a waiter. An adventurer. You make me tired.
I say you are head up. Well, what's the matter, my sweet?
I'm not your sweet.
I'm sorry, I rather thought you were.
Well, you can think again.
Come now, you don't mean that. We've got something in common, you and I. Rogues and murderers can't fall out.
Rogues and murderers?
All right. Don't like the company of rogues and murderers, and you won't have a drink. I'll go and finish searching.
I'm a pleasant young man. Well, I can't find it anywhere. Something the matter?
I'm worried about this general. He really is ill, I think.
Looking out for the boat, General! His sin has found him out. Don't! One must face the fact.
Any of us are forced to throw stones.
Even if his wife was no better than she should be. And she must have been a depraved woman. He has no right to take judgment into his own hands.
What about Beatrice Taylor?
Who?
That was her name, wasn't it?
You are referring to that absurd accusation about myself?
Yes.
Well, seeing as we're alone, I have no objection to telling you the facts of the case. Indeed, I should like you to hear them. It wasn't a suitable topic to discuss in the presence of gentlemen, so naturally I said nothing about it last night. That girl, It came as a great shock to me. Her parents were decent people who had brought her up strictly. I'm glad to say they didn't condone her behavior.
What happened?
Naturally, I refused to keep her an hour under my roof.
Did she drown herself?
Yes,
How old was she?
17.
Only 17.
Quite old enough to know how to behave herself properly. I told her what a low, depraved thing she was, and she was beyond the pale. I told her that the man would never dream of marrying her, and her child would be branded as a child of sin. I told her that no decent person would ever take her into their house, and that I felt spoiled by ever having had her under my roof.
You told a girl of 17 all that?
Yes, and I'm glad to say I broke her down utterly.
Poor little devil.
I have no patience with this indulgence towards sin.
And then I suppose you turned her out of your house?
Naturally.
And she didn't dare go home. What did you feel like when you found she drowned herself?
Feel like? Yes.
Didn't you blame yourself?
Well, of course not. I had nothing with which to reproach myself.
I believe you really do feel that way. That makes it even more horrible.
That girl is unbalanced. The heathen are sunk down in the pits they made. In the net which they hid, their own would take it. The Lord is known by the judgment he executed. The wicked is
Breakfast is ready.
Be quiet! The wicked shall be turned into hell.
Excuse me, miss. Do you know where the gentlemen are? Breakfast is ready.
Sir Lawrence Wargrave and his 6 nephews and sons. So the Armstrong and Mr. Blore are sent to the island. I shouldn't bother about them.
Shall not the isles shake at the sound of the ball, when the wounded cry and the slaughter is made in the midst of thee?
Shall we go in?
I don't feel like eating.
Breakfast is ready!
Then all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones, and lay away their robes and put off their broidered garments. They shall clothe themselves with trembling. They shall sit upon the ground and tremble at every moment. Be astonished at thee.
Reading aloud, Miss Brent.
It is my custom to read a portion of the Bible every day.
Very good habit, I'm sure.
So, what luck did you have?
There's no cover on the island. No caves. Nobody can hide anywhere.
That's right. What about the house, my father?
No one. I'd stake my life there's no one in this house but ourselves. Searching from attic to cellar.
Breakfast is getting cold.
Well, go on, boy. You've been yelping for breakfast ever since you got up.
Let's eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Who knows, maybe even today.
You should be ashamed of this lovely Captain Lombard.
Oh, come now, dear. No kids have this. Breakfast. How do you say, sir? Oh, my God. One got left behind. There's a knife from Mackenzie's back. He's dead. He's dead.
He can't be. They got something out of it.
Exactly, my dear sir. Don't you see this clever and cunning criminal going comfortably one stage ahead of us? He knows exactly what we're going to do next and makes his plans accordingly. There's only one place you know where a successful murderer can hide and have a reasonable chance of getting away with it.
One place? Where?
Here in this room. Mr. O is one of us.
You were right in what you said this morning. This damn murderer is one of us. think I know which one. Really? Every other lady boarding case in America. Old couple killed in the middle of the afternoon with an axe. Only person who could have done it was the daughter. A middle-aged, respectable spinster. Incredible. So incredible they acquitted her. But they never found any other explanation.
And your answer to the problem is Miss Emily Brent.
She's as bad as a hat. Really just bad, I tell you. She's the one. The women want her.
Really? I was the impression that your suspicions were indifferent toward her.
Yes, but I changed my mind. And I'll tell you why. She isn't scared. She's the only one who isn't. Huh.
We make you coffee. Oh, it's a big cold, isn't it?
Yes, you'd hardly believe it. You'd think what a beautiful day it was this morning.
Are Captain Lombard and Roger still out?
Yes. No boats that are against anyway.
You were right to insist on our going to lunch and drinking some brandy with it. I feel better.
The court always adjourns for lunch.
All the same, it's a nightmare. It seems as though it just can't be true. What are we going to do about it?
We must hold an informal court of inquiry. We may at least be able to eliminate some innocent people.
I haven't got a hunch of any kind. Having this Claythorne.
If Miss Claythorne suspects one of us three, that's rather an awkward question.
I'm sure it isn't any of you.
If you ask me who I suspected, I'd say Armstrong.
Armstrong?
Yes, don't you see? He had found a way to better than killing Mrs. Rogers. Terribly easy for him, as the doctor, to give her an overdose of stitches and stuff.
Yes, but someone else gave her the brandy, remember?
Her husband had a good opportunity to administer the drug.
It isn't Rogers. In the brain, big city does. No money.
Okay, something of a storm.
Oh, it's only you. Who did you think it was? Beatrice Taylor, what?
I'm afraid there's no hope of rescue until this dies down. Is that coffee?
Yes.
Good. Taking the coffee now, you see.
I do not, of course, profess to be a weather prophet, but I don't think a boat could reach us, even if it knew about flights in under 24 hours. If the wind drops, the sea has still to go down.
You're awfully wet.
Is anyone a swimmer? Would it be possible to swim to mainland?
It's over a mile. And in this sea, it's exact to the rocks and ground. Round. Round in the pond.
I beg your pardon, Miss Brent.
After dinner now.
Let the box like this.
That would be a good idea.
Very sound scheme, Rogers.
Does anyone know it's become the top bathroom curtain?
Really, Rogers, have you gone bats too?
Bathroom curtain.
Yes, sir. Scarlet oil silk. It's missing.
Anyone seen a scarlet oil silk curtain? No luck, I'm afraid, Rogers.
It doesn't matter, sir. Only I just thought it was odd.
Everything on this island is odd.
Well, I get a few nuts of coals and sticks and get a nice fire going.
I wonder if you'd like a nice cup of coffee. It's awfully wet. Rogers? Rogers?
Where's Armstrong?
He went to his room to rest.
Somebody's probably batted him one by now.
I suspect it's a good It won't be as easy now that we're all on our guard.
I advise you, Mr. Blore, not to be too confident. I should like Shoei to propose certain measures of safety, which I think we should all adopt.
Against whom?
Well, against each other. Of the 10 people who came to this island, 3 are definitely cleared. There are 7 of us left. 7 little Indian boys.
One of whom is a bogus little Indian boy.
Exactly.
Well, in spite of what Miss Claythorne said just now, I say you still learn Dr. Armstrong are above suspicion. He's a well-known doctor, and you're known all over England.
Well, Mr. Blore, that proves nothing. Judges have gone mad before now. So have doctors. So have policemen.
Here, here. Well, did you want some coffee?
He'd rather make himself a nice cup of tea. What about Dr. Armstrong?
I will take him up a cup if you like.
Oh, no, I'll go. I want to change.
I think Dr. Armstrong might prefer to see me, Captain Lombard. He may not admit you. He may be afraid of your revolver.
Yes, that revolver. I wanted to have a word with you about that.
You go and change.
you going to say?
I'd like to know where you brought a revolver down here. We're supposed to be those social visits.
You do you? Well, I've lived a rather adventurous life. I've gotten into the habit of carrying a gun with me. Been in a jam once or twice, and it's a comfortable feeling having a gun handy. Don't you agree?
We don't carry the none of what's the truth about this gun.
What a damn suspicious fellow you are, boy.
I know a fishy story when I hear one.
If it's about that revolver, I'd like to hear what you've got to say.
Oh, well. I got a letter from Mr. and Mrs. Owen asking me to come here. It would be worth my while. The writer said that I got a reputation for being a good man in a tight place. There'd be some danger involved, but I'd be all right if I kept my eyes open.
I'd never fallen for that.
Well, I did. I was bored. God, I was bored back in that same country. It's an intriguing proposition, you must admit.
Too vague for my liking.
Well, that was a total charm. It aroused my curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yes, quite.
Do you come and change, please?
I'm going, my sweet, I'm going. Maternal instinct, I think it's called.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's a tall story. If it's true, why did he tell us last night?
You might have thought that this was exactly the emergency for which you've been prepared.
Perhaps it is.
I hardly think so. It was just Mr. Owen's little bit of a cheat to get him into the trap with the rest of us. You must have known him well enough to rely on his curiosity.
If it's true, he's a wrong one, that man. I wouldn't trust him a yard.
Are you really such a good judge of truth?
We must get out of here. We must, or it's too late. We won't be able to stop him and give way to nerves. I'm sorry. Rather a case of physician kill thyself. But I've been overworked lately and run down.
Sleeping badly?
Yes, I keep dreaming. Hospital, operation, knife in my throat.
Real nightmares.
Yes. Do you ever dream you're in court, sentencing a man to death? Are you by any chance referring to one man called Edward Seaton? I can assure you I should lose no sleep over the death of one Edward Seaton. A particularly brutal and cold-blooded murderer. Jury was inclined to let him off, I could see. However, I cooked Seaton's goose.
It's cold in here, isn't it?
I wish Rogers would hurry up.
Yes, where's Master Rogers? He's been gone a long time.
Said he got to get some steak.
Six, my God, six. My God! Another one gone. There's only six.
There are only five!
Five!
Rogers and Lombard!
Oh no! Oh, Philip!
Rogers!
Rogers!
Oh, I feel like a madman.
Oh, Philip!
Have you seen Rogers?
No, why should I?
2 more Indians are gone.
2?
I thought it was you.
Well, what was it?
Hillary.
Is he?
Yes, he's dead all right.
How?
With an axe. Someone must have come up behind him and bent over in the wood box.
Oh, I'm talking something up. I got the stick.
Stop it, Vera. Stop it. She's all right. Well, what's next, boys? Bees? Do they keep bees in the silence? That's the next verse, isn't it? 6 little Indian boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one, and then there were 5.
My God. He's right. There are only 5.
Well, we all look pretty surprised. There's nothing wrong with any of us. Oh, my God. You don't think... A hypodermic syringe.
The modern bee thing.
While she was sitting there, one of us.
One of us. Which of us?
Start with Blore. It's not hard to guess who Blore suspects. It sticks out a mile. I'm your fancy, aren't I, Blore?
I wouldn't sit up to that.
You've got me all wrong, you know. This abstract justice isn't my line. If I was to commit murder, there'd have to be nothing in it for me.
All I say is you've acted suspiciously from the start. You told two different stories. You came here with a revolver. Now you say you've lost it.
I have lost it.
That's the likely story.
What do you think I've done with it? I suggested myself that you search it.
You haven't got it on you. You're too clever for that. But you know where it is.
You mean I've catched it ready for the next time?
I shouldn't be surprised.
Why don't you use your brain? If I'd wanted to, I could have gotten the whole lot of you by now. Hop, 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 hop.
Yes, that's a big idea.
The crazy doctor? My God, man, I'm sane enough.
The doctor says there's some lunatics you never knew were crazy. That's true enough, I say.
We can't just sit around here doing nothing. Surely we can do something. If we lit a bonfire.
In this weather, it is rather, I think, a question of time and patience. The weather will clear, then we can do something. Light a bonfire, a heliograph, or a signal.
A question of time? Time? We can't afford time. We'll all be dead. Tell you, all of us will all be dead. All but one of us. Now think of something else. He's thinking now.
Poor Louise. What was her name, please? Was it nerves that made you do her in, Doctor?
No drink. I used to be a heavy drinker. Hi. Yeah. I was drunk when I operated. What is the cooperation? My hands shaking all over the place. I can see her now. A very heavy, countrified woman. And I killed her.
So I was right. That's how it happened?
Sister was loyal to me at the hospital. I gave up drink. I gave them all together. I went for a study of nervous disease.
Very successfully.
One or two lucky shots. Good result of one or two important women. They told their friends. For the last year or two, I've been so busy working, I hardly knew which way to turn. I got to the top of the tree.
Until Mr. Unknown owned. And down will come Cradle and Doctor and all.
You smell that terrible sneering and joking.
Gentlemen, please, we can't afford to quarrel.
It's all right by me. I apologize.
This terrible activity gets on my nerves.
We are adopting. I feel convinced the killing measure is possible. So long as we stay both inside of each other, a repetition of the past tragedies is, well, must be impossible. We've all submitted to a search. Therefore, we know that no man is armed either with firearms or a knife, nor has any man got cyanide or any other drug about his person. So long as we stay, as I say, both inside of each other, nothing can happen.
We shall need food, sleep.
That's what I say. Well, obviously the murderer's only chance of getting one of us is detached from the rest. So long as we prevent that, we are safe.
Safe?
You're very silent, Vera.
There isn't anything to say. Wonderful the time is. This awful waiting. Waiting for hours to go by and feeling that they may be our last. What is the time?
8:30.
That's all.
Pretty awful light, this. I say, how are we up for candles?
There's a whole package. Storm's dying down a bit. What do you think, sir? Perhaps. We must get you optimistic.
The murderer's got everything on his side. Even the weather seems to be falling under the plan.
What does anyone say to something to eat?
If you like, I'll go out. Open some tin tons, make some coffee. But you all stay right where you are. That's right, isn't it?
Well,
Not quite. You see, Mrs. Claythorne, it might be inadvisable to eat or drink something you prepared out of our sight.
Oh? You don't like me, do you?
Well, it's not a question of likes or dislikes.
There are not very many tricks that will get past you, Sir Lord. If you won't be offended when I say so, you're my man.
This is hardly the moment, Captain Lombard, for any of us to indulge in the luxury of taking offense.
I don't think it's Blore. I may be wrong, but I don't think he's got enough imagination for this scheme. All I can say is, if you are the murderer, I take my hat off to you for a damn fine actor.
Thank you for nothing.
Well, I don't think it's the doctor. I don't believe he's got the nerve. You've got plenty of nerve, Vera. However, you strike me as eminently sane. Well, you'd only commit murder if you had a thoroughly good motive.
Thank you.
I thought of something. Oh, splendid. Animal, vegetable, or mineral.
That man says he's a police officer. We have no proof of that. He only said so after the gramophone record when his name had been mentioned. Before that, he was claiming to be a South African millionaire. Perhaps the police officer's another impersonation. What do we know about him? Nothing at all.
He's a policeman. Look at his feet. Oh, by the way, Doctor, Miss Claythorne suspects you. Oh, yes, haven't you seen her give you a dirty look from time to time? It all works out quite prettily. I suspect Wargrave. Well, suspects me. Armstrong suspects Blore. Not yourself, sir.
Quite early in the day, I formed a certain conclusion. Amidst all the events that had transpired, they all pointed quite unmistakably to one person. I'm still of the same opinion.
Which one?
Well, no. It might be inadvisable to mention that person's name at the present time.
Inadvisable in the public interest.
Exactly. What about this food idea?
No, let's stay here. Let's stay here.
I can't stay. I'm hungry.
I'm not ravenous myself. You can go out and have a guzzle by yourself, Blore.
Tell you what. Suppose we go out and bring in a tin of biscuits.
Good idea. Blore.
What?
An unopened tin, Blore. It's just the wind.
I wonder what happened about the cousin. The one that Rogers lives.
I have the wildest stretch of imagination. I can't see what any homicidal maniac would want without the curtain.
These teachers keep disappearing. They spread nonsense kind of miserable.
But the murderer, whoever he is a kleptomaniac, too.
How's things go? Five little Indian boys.
Going in for law. One got in chancery.
In Chancery? But how could that apply? That's the course.
Precisely, my dear. That's why I'm sitting right here.
But I'm casting you as a part of murderer, not victim.
The term could apply to a boxer.
Well, perhaps we'll start a free fight. That seems like golf, I guess.
That awful rhyme keeps going round and round in my head. I actually can't remember it to the day I died. Blore's been a long time.
I suspect the big bad wolf has gotten him.
I've asked you once before to try and restrain your obvious and peculiar sense of humor, Captain Lombard.
Sorry, sir. Must be a form of nervousness.
Put your hands up. Search it. pipe smoker.
I've got a whole box upstairs in my suitcase. I'll go and get them. I can do with one myself. So you all stay right where you are.
Not bad, these biscuits.
What are they, cheese?
Cheese and celery.
Girl, I don't have one. I don't know if I agree with you there, Doctor. This Claythorne likes to be a very cool but social young lady. Quite remarkably so.
So that's nice.
How do I like you? Even I, Doctor, you came in from slightly different angles.
Would anyone say those spot of whiskey?
Not a bad idea, assuming we tank an unopened box.
Vera! Got a lighter.
Wait from Armstrong.
Pausing for magic.
Hard like death and went right around my throat.
What did?
The window was open in my room. As I opened the door, the candle blew out, and then I felt a long thread of seaweed touch my throat. I thought in the dark I was being strangled by a wet hand.
I don't wonder you screamed.
Who had that seaweed there?
I don't know, but when I find out, I'll be sorry he was ever born.
Who said?
Don't me, Miss Claythorne. Here we are. Who fired that shot?
One got in chancery, and then there were four.
Miss Claythorne here.
You caught me out of the way. You got me to upstairs for a cigarette. You hung that seaweed there. You did all to kill that helpless old man in the dark. You're mad, all of you. Crazy. That's why you wanted to break curtain in the knitting room. It was all planned. Long ago. But that, oh my God, let me get out of this.
Three little Indian boys sitting in a row, thinking as they guzzle who's next to go.
Oh, Philip.
All right, Miss Claythorne. I don't mind joking on a full stomach.
I must say I was hungry, but all the same, I don't think I shall ever fancy seeing tongue again.
I was wanting that meal. I feel a new man.
It's been almost 24 hours without food. That doesn't tend to lower the morale.
Is that how?
Still a homicidal maniac. anything bad if he suspected us all.
He seems so silly in the light of day.
Very silly.
Allowing it is Armstrong. What do you think happened to him?
We all know what he wants us to think has happened to him.
What exactly did you find?
One shoe. Just one shoe, like prettily on the cliff edge. King Prince. Dr. Armstrong has gone completely off his onion and committed suicide.
All very circumstantial. If it's the one little China Indian broken over there in the doorway.
I think that was Robert overdoing it. I mean, a man would think of doing that if he was going to drown himself.
Yes, but we're fairly sure he didn't drown himself. Can't you make it look like he was the seventh victim, all according to plan?
Suppose that he really is dead.
I'm a bit suspicious of death without bodies.
How extraordinary is that there are 5 dead bodies in Narracott. Here we feed eating 10 tongues.
A delightful feminine disregard for facts. There are 6 dead bodies, and they're not all in there.
No, she's right. There are only 5.
What about Mrs. Rogers?
I've counted her. She makes the 5th.
Now look here. Marston 1, Mrs. Rogers 2, Mackenzie 3, Rogers 4, Emily Brent 5, Wargrave 6.
7, 8, 9, Armstrong 10. That's right, old man. Sorry.
You think it'd be an idea if we brought Mrs. Rogers down and put her in the morgue too?
I'm a detective, not an undertaker.
For heaven's sake, stop talking about bodies. The point is Armstrong murdered them.
We should have seen him with Armstrong straight away.
How do you think he got hold of your revolver?
Not the slightest idea.
What exactly happened in the night?
Well, after you threw your fit of hysterics and locked yourself in your room, we all decided that we ought to go to bed.
So we all went to our rooms and locked ourselves there.
About an hour later, I heard someone go past my door. So I knocked on Blore's room. He was there all right. Then I went to Armstrong's door. He was empty. That's why I went to your room and told you to sit tight whatever happened. I came down here. The balcony window was open. My revolver was lying just beside it.
But why did Mr. Armstrong chuck the revolver away?
Don't ask me. Either an accident or he's crazy.
Where do you think he is?
Working somewhere. Waiting to get a crack at one of us.
Oh, well, we ought to search the house.
What? They'll walk into an ambush.
No, I never thought of that.
Are you quite sure you didn't hear anyone while we were gone?
Oh, I imagined all sorts of things. But nothing short of setting the house on fire would have got me to unlock my door.
I see. Just thoroughly suspicious.
What's he done talking? What are we going to do?
If you ask me, do nothing. Sit tight and take no risks.
Look here, I want to go after that fellow.
What a dog of the bulldog breed you are, boy. By the way, between friends without prejudice, you did go to that spot of perjury, didn't you?
Well, I don't suppose it makes any odds now. Sandra was innocent, all right. He then squared me between us and put him away for a stretch. Nigel wouldn't admit it now, but what's that?
You thought we were all in the same boat.
Well, I couldn't admit it in front of Mr. Justice Wargrave, could I?
No, hardly.
I say, that fellow Keaton, do you believe he was innocent?
I'm quite sure. Wargrave had a reason for wanting him out of the way. Well, boy, I'm delighted to see you come up your virtuous perch. I hope you made a tiny bit out of it.
Nothing will worry off to. There means lots that betting game. I got my promotion now.
Landor got penal servitude and died in jail.
I couldn't tell he was going to die, could I?
No, that was just your bad luck.
His, you mean?
Yours too, because as a result of that fact, you might get your life cut short unpleasantly soon.
What, you mean by Armstrong? I'll watch out.
You'll have to. Remember, there are only 3 little Indians there.
What about yourself?
I shall be quite all right, thank you. I've been in some tight places before, and I've always gotten out of them. I mean to get out of this one, too. Besides, I've got a revolver.
Yes, that revolver. Now, you said you found it lying down there. What's the proof you hadn't had it the whole time?
Same old gramophone record. There's not room in your head for more than one thought at a time, is there?
No, but it's a good idea.
And you're sticking to it.
And I would have thought of a better story if I were you.
I only wanted something simple that a policeman can understand.
What's wrong with the police?
Nothing, now that you've left the force.
Look here, Mr. Lombard. You're an honest man as you pretend.
Oh, come now, boy. You're not that honest.
If you're telling the truth for once, you do the square thing and chuck your revolver down there.
Don't be an ass.
Listen, I said I'd go searching the house for Armstrong Agatha. If I'm willing to do that, will you lend me your revolver?
No. It's my revolver, and I'm sticking to it.
Then do you know what I'm beginning to think?
You're not beginning to think that you square-headed, Flatty. You thought it last night, now you're going back to your original idea. I'm the one and only UN unknown. Is that it?
I won't contradict you.
Don't think what you damn well please, but I warn you, Blore.
I think you were best behaved like to have children.
Sorry, teacher.
Of course, Captain Lombard is in the unknown. The unknown Owen is Dr. Armstrong. And I'll tell you one phrase, the prison.
Oh, what?
Think of the rhyme. 4 little Indian boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3. when he was chopping sticks. Using a hypodermic on Miss Brent when he may as well just have drugged her. He's got to make it all fit in.
And that might give us a pointer. Where do we go from here? 3 little Indian boys walking in a zoo. A big bear hugged one, and then there were 2. You'll have a job with that one. There's no zoo on this island. I say, what about a nice bottle of beer?
Do stop thinking about your stomach, Ward. This craving for food and drink will be your undoing.
Well, there's plenty of beer in the kitchen.
Yes, if anyone wanted to take a crack at you, the first place they'd think of putting a lethal dose would be a nice bottle of beer.
What's that? A boat? A boat?
No!
Ward's got his.
How?
The booby trap all set. A wire from the door hanging to something above.
Is he?
Yes, he's crushed. Head stove in. Like big bronze bear pulling the clock from the landing.
A bat? Oh, how ghastly. It's his awful childishness.
I know. What a fool Blore was.
And now, there are only 2 of us.
Yes, and we must be very careful of ourselves.
We shan't do it. He'll get us. We'll never be able to get away from this island.
Yes, we will. I've never been beaten yet.
Don't you feel that there's someone watching, waiting?
That's just planned.
Jamey, do you feel it?
No, I don't.
Please, Philip, let's get out of here. Perhaps if that was about, they'll see us.
All right. We'll go to the top of the island. There's a sheer cliff on that side. We can see if anyone comes from the house.
Anything's better than standing here.
Won't you be rather cold in that?
I'd be colder if I was dead.
Perhaps you're right. A quick reconnaissance.
Be careful, Philip, please.
I'm not bored. There's nothing to love. Hello, what's that?
What? It looks like it's falling.
You stay here. I'm going to go have a look.
Armstrong. Armstrong's body.
It's Armstrong drowned. Washed up in high water mark.
And now there are only 2 of us left on this island.
Yes, Vera. Now we know where we are.
Now we know where we are.
A clever trick with that wire. Quite neat. Old Wargrave always said you were dangerous.
You...
So you did drown that kid after all.
I didn't. That's where you're wrong. Please, please listen to me.
Oh, I'm listening. It better be a good story.
It is the story, it's the truth. I didn't kill that child. It was someone else.
Who?
A man. Peter's uncle. I was in love with him.
This is getting quite interesting.
Don't sneer with hell. Absolute hell. Peter was born after his father's death. If he'd been a girl, you would have got everything.
Classic tale of the wicked uncle.
Yes, he was wicked. And I didn't realize. He said that he loved me. But he was too cold to marry. There was a rock far out that Peter was always wanting to swim to. Of course, I wouldn't let him. It was too dangerous. One day, we were on the beach, and I had to go back to the house for something I'd forgotten. When I returned, I looked down and I saw Peter swimming out to the rock. I knew he had got a chance, but the current had already got him. I rushed
really quiet about Hugh's part of the matter.
Do you think they would have believed me? Besides, I couldn't. I really was in love with him.
It's a good story. And then I suppose Hugh let you down.
Do you think I ever wanted to see him again?
You certainly are an accomplished liar, Vera.
Why can't you believe the truth when you hear it?
Who killed Blore? I didn't, and Armstrong's dead. I've broken most of the commandments in my time, and I'm no saint. But there's one thing I won't stand for, and that's murder.
You won't stand for murder! What about those natives you left to die in Africa?
That's what's so damn funny, I think.
What do you mean?
For once, just once, Marcia, I played the hero. Risked my life for the lives of my men. Gave them my gun, and my ammunition, and all the supplies there were. And I took a chance through the brush. And by the most incredible luck, it went off. Wasn't it time to save them? And the rumors started to go around that I'd abandoned my men. Well, there's life for you.
You expect me to believe that? Why you actually admitted the whole thing?
I know. I got such a kick out of seeing everyone's faces.
You can't fool me with a stupid lie like that.
Blast you!
Why didn't I see it before? It's there in your face. The face of a killer.
You can't fool me any longer.
Now!
You cunning little devil.
Take one step nearer, and I'll shoot.
You young, lovely, and quite mad. It's all come true. My tender Indian land. My rhyme. My rhyme! Silence in the court! If there's any more noise, let the court clear! It's all right, my dear, it's all right. Don't be frightened. This is the court of justice. You'll get justice here. Because I was a ghost. Because I was dead, didn't you? Armstrong said I was dead. That was the clever part of my plan to trap the murderer. We fixed up my supposed death so I could be free to spy upon the guilty one. He started an excellent plan. Came out that night to meet me by the cliff without any suspicion. I sent him over with the boots so easily. He swallowed my red herring all right. You know, Vera Claythorne, all my life I've wanted to take life. Yes, to take life. I had to get what enjoyment I could out of sentencing the guilty to death. I always enjoyed that, but I wanted more. I wanted to do it with my own hands. But I'm a judge of the High Court. I got a sense of justice. As between our sovereign lord and king and a prisoner of the bar will truth will ever make. Guilty, my lord, eh? Guilty! You broke, don't you know? The law couldn't touch you. I take the law into my own hands. Into my own hands. Silence in the court! Anthony Marston first. Then Mrs. Rogers. Barberton and Randy. Mackenzie, stab! Judge Rogers an axe while he was chopping sticks. Doped Emily Brent's coffee so she couldn't feel the hypodermic. Booby trap of Blore. Blore the fool. I always knew it'd be easy to get Blore. Returning that revolver was a clever touch. Made the end interesting. I knew you two would suspect each other at the end. The question was, who'd win out? I banked on you, my dear, the female species. After all, it's more exciting to have the girl at the end. Prisoner at the bar, do you think to say why sentence should not be passed upon you? Vera and Claythorne, I sentence you to death.
Stop! Stop! I'm not guilty! I'm not guilty!
Ah, they all say that. Must plead not guilty, not guilty. Unless, of course, you're going all out for the verdict of insanity. But you're not mad. I'm mad, but you're not.
I never killed that child. I never wanted to kill him. You're a judge. You know when a person's guilty and when they're innocent. I swear I'm telling the truth.
So you didn't kill that boy after all. Very interesting. But it doesn't matter much now, does it? What? I can't spoil my lovely rhyme. and hanged himself. I must have my hanging. My hanging!
John Athas, Director of 10 Little Indians, you are charged with the following indictment. That you did willfully and without remorse cause the successful production of the Bishop Lynch film. That you purposefully brought out the talents of each actor and made them use these talents to their fullest ability. For these acts of professionalism, you are hereby sentenced by the cast and crew of 10 Little Indians to accept this token of their appreciation. Mr. Athas, now step forward to receive your sentence.
Let me say what he said. fall 1996. Thank you very much.